cents a gallon. And within the next 12
Hey guys, how's
months,
it going?
we will have opened
Sorry,
1,600 new electric.
Hey guys, how's it going? Sorry, this is kind of last minute. I wanted to go live because I didn't even know Trump was addressing the nation. I kind of unplugged a little bit from everything for a while, working on a project, and then I saw Vahalla VFT going live. So I was watching him for a little bit, and then I found out how um, that's how I found out Trump was going live. So we're gonna watch this speech, and then we'll see if we can go over to or back over to Valhalla, and then we'll talk about things.
Generating plants, a record, and it's a record that won't be beaten by.
Supposedly, there's a really big announcement that he's making. I would imagine it is war with Venezuela. I imagine it is.
Practically, I would say by any mortgage payments will be coming down even further. Early the new year, and you will see this in the new year, I will announce some of the most aggressive housing reform plans in American history. A major factor in driving up housing costs was the colossal border invasion. We have never been invaded.
No, it wasn't. It was all of these private equity firms that are buying up 86,000 or is it 86 or 68? I think it's 86. Buying up 86,000 single family homes. That's what the issue is. The monopoly on the single family homes. No, that is not the fucking problem. It's part of the problem, but it's not the fucking problem.
This is the worst. And flooded emergency rooms, getting free health care and education paid for by you, the American taxpayer. They also increased the cost of law enforcement by numbers so high that they are not even to be mentioned. For the first time in 50 years, we are now seeing reverse migration as migrants go back home, leaving more housing and more jobs for Americans. In the year before my election, all net creation of jobs was going to foreign migrants. Since I took office, 100% of all net job creation has gone to American-born citizens. 100%.
Really? 100%. So those Amazon jobs, 20,000 of those Amazon jobs, that they didn't go to H-1B visas? Really? 100% of it went to, okay.
The government either served economics of the state and have stolen billions and billions of dollars from Minnesota and indeed from the United States of America. And we're going to put an end to it for so long as before my election.
But you allow $3.8 billion to be sent to Israel.
To watch as corrupt politicians plundered the halls of power, exploited our taxpayers, and pillaged every system that makes civilized society function. But not anymore, and you see that every day, not anymore. We're putting America first, and we are making America great again. Very simple. We are making America great again. Tonight, after 11 months...
By attacking Thomas Massey for demanding the Epstein files?
Stopped. Wages are up. Prices are down. Our nation is strong. America is respected. And our country
We're a
is
laughing
back,
stock.
Stronger than ever before. We're poised for an economic...
More people are leaving the United States than ever before. More people are homeless than ever before. More people are sicker than ever before. More people hate living in this country than ever before. Don't fucking lie to us, gaslight us, and tell us that everything is fucking fine.
Boom, the likes of which the world contribute to this epic milestone, than to complete
I'm gonna crash
the
out.
comeback of America that began just 1 year ago. When the world looks at us next year, let them see a nation that is loyal to its citizens,
loyal to
faithful
Israel,
to its workers, confident to its identity, certain to its destiny, and the envy of the entire globe. We are respected again like we have never been respected before. To each and every one of you, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. God bless you all.
That's it. That was the big announcement. All right, well, we're going to go over to Valhalla.
And God bless you, Mr. President. He is truly going to be in the...
Lone 22-year-old gunman who somehow got a hold of some 30.
Okay, he's already off in the Trump thing.
Was the one who infilled perfectly to the perfect spot, assembles his gun, takes the shot, exfills perfectly to Mike's point. And then even though he pulls off this perfect assassination in front of 3,000 people, he decides to then, to Mike's point, jump off the roof and run and throw the gun in the woods right by campus for everybody to find. And then, even though he's just pulled off this super high-level professional assassination, got away with it, immediately texts his trans furry boyfriend and admits to the crime. Okay. Does that make sense? Now, and that's, let's say we have the new story here, right? The 30-06 frangible round. Okay. Does the story, just add that in. Let's take the
So there's a new story, by the way.
Rifle out of it. Let's assume Tyler actually got it to the roof, even though we haven't seen that. And he used it, and it was a frangible round, the perfect round to use to do the exact damage that we've seen. Is the story any less suspicious to you guys?
As I have talked about before in one of my earlier videos about the Charlie Kirk situation, the FBI adopted the Flow 556K suppressor back in 2022. I find that extremely coincidental because I think for the last time that I really did look, or the last time that I looked, really into this, or pretty deep into this, people were all automatically agreeing, or people were pretty much on a consensus that this was a suppressed rifle that was used, not an unsuppressed. So, just something to note.
In combat, IEDs and explosives that kept me and my teammates from getting fucking pink misted. Our own dogs, a bunch of times. They're fucking incredible at what they can smell. So yes, the bomb dogs would have found that gun immediately, by the way, given its vicinity and how close it was to the location of the shot. But they didn't. Just another whoopsie until the FBI showed up and just randomly found the rifle in the chicken coop that the dogs couldn't find. Roger that. So now, again, to Mike's point too, when you factor in, and I did an entire episode. This might have been one of the very first episodes I did on this, where I talked about how this was not a random low-level hit. It was too professionally done. The infill, the exfill, everything about it was too well done. I think, let's see when that video was that I did this. I did a whole video on how well.
There's no way an amateur. There's no way an amateur would have been able to do the thing. But he wasn't even shot from the fucking front. I keep saying this all the time. He was not shot from the front. He was shot from his back right side. That's what hit his C2 and then came down and crashed out the front of his neck. That's why we saw that there. Okay? So the fact that they don't even show an exit wound, they don't even talk about it. They keep hounding on this. The bullet got lodged, a 30-06 round lodged in his fucking neck, which was absolutely a lie because that 30-06 round would have decapitated him nearly. It's absolute bullshit. It's absolute horseshit. He was not hit from the front. Absolutely not. We would have saw overspray, but we can't exactly check for that because they paved over the fucking grass. Another reason for a cover-up. Absolutely believe this was a cover-up. 100% this was a cover-up. Why else would Kash Patel literally block other government officials from investigating the case. If it was all honest and really trying to get to the bottom of things, then he would have allowed them to be a part of the investigation. I mean, matter of fact, since it was a state prosecution, the FBI shouldn't have even been involved in it to begin with. So the very fact that the FBI is involved, automatically suspicious. Automatically suspicious. So that makes your eyebrows raise.
Here we go. The woods that we don't even know if we can connect that to the fact that it doesn't look like there's any more evidence than what we have. And that would make sense because, like what Mike just told us, the FBI was done with the investigation 48 hours later. They were done. They wrapped it up. They took off. So why would they have any more? Why would they have any more evidence and information? Because they were done in 48 hours. And the school paved over the crime scene and they were gone.
I just told you that.
So it kind of makes sense, actually. It kind of makes sense that the FBI doesn't have any more evidence than what we've seen.
It makes sense that the FBI is complicit in it. I'll fucking say it. I don't give a shit.
And footage, and we're going to see that in the trial.
Because there's just no other way. I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong. And, but I'm just going to say what I believe. I'm not going to say that, it is one thing or the other, because I mean, there's a lot of things that points to the cover up and the FBI being involved and whatnot. So, but just so the FBI doesn't fucking knock down my goddamn door. Let's try and back up a little bit.
Well, it doesn't sound like it.
God damn it.
Just for him to give this, I promise I didn't cheat on you, America response right before the Epstein files fucking came out.
Oh, Trump's speech. Oh yeah.
Like anyone is gonna buy that bullshit.
Right.
No, maybe some MAGA people will, I guess.
Yeah, there's always
the rest
some.
Of us, I don't think will. So let's this is what I want to ask you guys. Did Tyler Robinson act alone? Let me know what you guys think. Based off and this is with the new story. This is with the 30-06 now makes sense. The frangible round, we're good. Okay. All of that's thumbs up again. I don't know if
let's see if he acknowledges our stream here.
Even with that new evidence, did Tyler Robinson act alone? Is he the lone gunman? He planned it all off. Like Mike Glover said, perfect infill, takes the shot, not perfect shot, but good enough shot. Exfills perfectly, gets away, somehow decides to dump the rifle in the chicken coop. Makes no sense why. And then admits to his, furry boyfriend that he did it. Okay. And again, that's with even new information that sort of helps us with the case. I really want, at this point, you know what we need?
We gotta try really hard to crash the stream.
Answer from Andrew Colvett.
Yeah, well,
hey,
for
Andrew,
sure.
Why the fuck did you tell everybody the story that you told everybody?
Well, why did his daddy say the same thing?
Why'd you tell everybody the surgeon told you all that shit?
Why did his daddy say that he was the very person that Andrew called?
If that's true, and he lied about this and he made this up, we should probably get an answer for it.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Mikey McCoy
derailed
is
the
what I'm talking about.
entire conversation and derailed the entire story.
My bad. Wrong guy. There's so many faces and names
we could have been looking at kind of get derailed because they don't make sense anymore with that fucking medical examiner story. So why did you do that, dude? There's some possibilities here, okay, that maybe aren't nefarious. Maybe one, he's just a fucking idiot. maybe he's just a fucking idiot who thought, hey, we need to uphold Charlie's legacy, so I'm going to put out this thing that makes that makes Charlie look like the 13th apostle and the steel neck and Superman, and it's a miracle and Christ and all this factors in, and that's why he put it out, because he wanted to, build Charlie up into this hero martyr that saved everybody with his steel neck. Maybe that's why Andrew did it. Maybe he's just fucking dumb. That's one possibility.
No, that's not the most likely possibility.
2, the flood the zone possibility, which is you put out a bunch of bad
here's just what I think. They're trying to put out so many contradicting things to confuse people. When you have people who are massively confused, it's easy to create something that is remotely true, right? The most convincing lies are lies that have a little bit of truth twisted into it. Right? So that might be what their game is. Might be exactly what their game is. I don't know, but kind of looks that way, doesn't it? Because they know that the first story wasn't working. So now, because of what Valhalla VFT was saying about the frangible rounds, quite some time ago, that I'm not sure if I covered this, or I might have. But now that they're using this other story now, that the frangible round is being used, but then again, there's no way that they would have found a bullet anyways, because when a frangible round is used, it disintegrates when it hits its target. So there's no way that story is true. Anyways, either way that it goes, if a 30-06 was used, either frangible or not, the story doesn't make any sense at all. So now they've already confused the people. They're trying to confuse people more distractions, right? That's why everyone thought that Trump was about to announce war with Venezuela. We're essentially going to come to that situation because, well, the more people notice, the more people need a distraction by the usual suspects, of course. And that's where I see this headed.
Muddies the waters so that people every fucking video. He's in every single one. Andrew Colvett. He's in every video. Like he's the face of the show. Every fucking video. Well, here's one with Blake Neff and he's in this one too. He's in every video. So why are they throwing the PR guy, new Charlie Kirk 2.0, under the bus and saying he's a fucking liar?
Makes you wonder, right?
I'm honestly...
What's the day?
I'm trying to figure all this stuff out myself because none of this makes sense. None of this makes... it doesn't make sense that Andrew did what he did to begin with, to put out this fucking wonk-ass story. It doesn't make sense that they waited 3.5 months to correct the record on something this egregious.
That's real sus.
And then the timing. Tyler Robinson appears in court. What was it? The next day, 2 days later, Erica Kirk and Candace Owens meet. 2 days later, everybody gets thrown under the bus. TPUSA changes their story completely. That makes the official narrative work perfectly. Well, with the gun.
Well, that's how you know what's going on.
I haven't had time to sit down and reflect on this and try to figure it out. But I did tell you guys after the episode yesterday that I felt like Candace got sort of emotionally honeypotted by Erica. And what it felt like to me is that TPUSA was going to burn people to the ground to exonerate Erica and TPUSA. And this just feels like more of that. To where TPUSA can go and Erica Kirk can go, we never said that about Charlie in the medical examiner's report, and we never said the surgeon said that. That was Andrew Colvett, and he did that on his own, completely solo. We have no idea why he did it. And so blame that on him. You know what I mean? Like, very.
In situations like this, it's always easier to use a scapegoat, especially when, you know, the truth is starting to come out, right? People aren't buying the bullshit. People already know what's up. They know what's going on. And so there has to be a fall guy, you know, as the chat's saying here, there has to be a fall guy. We absolutely know for a fact that he is the patsy. 100%. 100%. He wasn't anywhere near the university the day of. And that's as Ian Carroll is reporting. And I trust Ian Carroll over what Erica Kirk says. So, it's just, there are so many things that doesn't make sense at all. And the more we point it out, the more they're going to go, oh, the more they're going, oh shit, now we've got to change the story and throw people under the bus. This happens every single time. Matter of fact, whenever that whole situation went down with the with the drug boat and how this administration bombed that drug boat, right, and then bombed it a second time 40 minutes later, how Trump threw Pete Hegseth under the bus, and then Pete Hegseth threw his guy under the bus, right? When everything starts to come out, you see you see people almost immediately, avoid accountability. And that happens every single time. So it's a really good indicator that there's some kind of there's some kind of connection between everything that's happening, which we already know. They just won't say it. Of course they won't say it, because the government never does anything wrong.
Very odd. Again, the coroner did find the bullet just beneath the skin. Not possible with a frangible round. There would be tiny fragments, but basically there would be no bullet. So that was a fucking lie, I guess. Even in death, and here's what I'm talking about with the evangelical martyr shit. Even in death, Charlie managed to save the lives of those around him. Remarkable, miraculous. So,
mystical fucking words, man.
Reading it back now, knowing that this was completely made up and fabricated, it does feel like that was some evangelical Charlie's a martyr slop. But why did you let that run for 3.5 months?
Exactly, yeah.
Without correcting the record. And
seems too convenient.
They haven't put him out in front of.
There's all like I said, there's always a distraction, right? There was a vote. Victims were coming out. September 3rd, victims were coming out, telling they're literally going to name drop, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene was literally spearheading the whole thing, right? She was talking about how she was going to name names and not be afraid to name names. Well, a week later, there was a vote to seal the Epstein files. I'm guessing the unredacted files, or what's left of the unredacted files, by majority, mind you. And then on that same day, Charlie was shot, right? So there's a distraction. And it distracted people for quite some time, enough to make a bullshit narrative. And so they did that. But then they realized very, very quickly that you cannot pull off the same kind of high-profile assassination that they really did in '63. So they had to go back to the drawing board, and it took them some time to scour the internet, right? Where all of us are dissecting what's going on, understanding that the narrative is bullshit, right? And we're trying to think of other possibilities that could be it, and then they put something together and they go with that. However, around this same time, the Epstein files start to come out, right? So they're in another distraction. War with Venezuela. That's not exactly working. People are still noticing. People are still demanding the release of the Epstein files. The Epstein files start to come out a little bit more. Now there needs to be another distraction. Okay, let's go ahead and put him on trial. Tyler. Let's go ahead, put Tyler in the courtroom. Let's get this thing going. Let's get it kicked off. Okay. Well, people are still noticing. Now, Trump is essentially trying to cover his tracks like he did with the whole Pete Hegseth, the bombing of the drug boat situation. So, right.
Go on. Why isn't he on Charlie? For the people protesting it. So good for you. Grabbing the bullet. Okay, here's the bullet. Okay, the bullet's actually here, and then it's below down here in the casing as well. He's inscribing the casing. Okay, this is just a this is just a shell casing.
Why does it do that?
A little picture. This is a soft. See that mushroom? See that? So that's what the bullet turns into. Here we go.
Yeah.
That's what the bullet turns into when it enters the body. Right? It's going to mushroom out. And so there would be nothing on a regular bullet if it hit the body, whether it was a full metal jacket round or frangible round. So it's the actual shell casing itself that's being engraved. So anyway, I hope that answers that question.
Yeah.
Nate, over Barron all day. Nah, that's not true. I love Barron. I was watching Barron. I was literally watching Barron up until 2
Hey, Fish, what's going on, man? How's your day going? I figured I'd do a last-minute live covering Trump's speech because I was pretty convinced that he was going to announce war with Venezuela, so I wanted to hop on. Good, man. Glad you're doing good. And then decided to hop on back over to Valhalla, talking about the Charlie Kirk situation. There's some new stuff that's been coming out. TPUSA is now flip-flopping their story, saying that it was a frangible round that was being used, or I think that's the new story. I haven't really taken a look at exactly what's going on. Probably we could kind of backtrack, see here, and figure out, because Nate's been covering this whole thing. So let's go to back to the beginning, because I think hang on just a second. Yeah, so he did an update live stream, so we're gonna kind of back it up a little bit just to make sure we get our basis right, so we don't get anything wrong. But if I remember correctly, that's exactly what's happening. That it's not an infrangible round. It's not, well, that was the old story. The old story wasn't that it was a frangible that it was a frangible round. It's that it was an actual 30-06 round that was lodged in his neck, and now that people are noticing, essentially, they're flip-flopping on a different story now. And so let's see what he says here.
Okay. Here we go.
Oh, right on.
Oh, everybody. We got a
Well, I definitely appreciate you stopping in, bro. I really do. You make sure you rest up well, okay? Whenever you do head out, you're more than welcome to, hang out with me for a little bit and then, head off to bed. But appreciate you stopping by nonetheless.
The one tonight. A lot to talk about. Oh my. I don't think anybody has really realized the significance of information that came out today. And that is what I'm going to explain to you guys in this live. Typically, obviously, we don't do lives on Thursday, but this is kind of so wild, and it literally turns the entire Charlie Kirk story on its head. And I don't think people have realized that yet with what came out today. And so, we are.
I had no idea things came out today.
Okay. Get a little bit of time for people to come.
like I said earlier, I was kind of unplugged from everything. I did do a video today, but I was working on my project, so haven't really plugged a lot into what was going on. But yeah, so that happened today. Let's see what he says.
Come in here. I know
Let's see what
Baron's
the
live right
let's see
now,
what the
so probably
situation
a lot of his
is.
viewers won't be over until he's done. But that's okay. It's Wednesday.
How do you find all these
Wednesday.
emojis?
Sorry, guys. I don't live stream on either days. Wednesday. Either way. Yeah, actually we're gonna use Mike's interview in this video to talk about some things. But yeah, so essentially, what do we got? I get it, it's Wednesday, that's my bad guess. What happened today? Well, Candace did an episode, and she sort of talked about at the start of her story the whole the steel neck comments from Andrew Colvett. And again, who knows what's true? Let me lead with this. Okay, we're going to operate under the premise that the new information we have is actually true today. The idea that Andrew Colvett, whether he was lying, whether he just made something up, whether he got bad information from somebody, the steel neck surgeon's comments, according to the fucking surgeon himself, the surgeon never said any of that. And what the surgeon did say, actually, and I'll show you, I said 2 months ago in a video that what we would have expected to see with Charlie's injury from a 30-06, the surgeon just conveniently said the one type of round that makes the entire 30-06 narrative work.
Ah, frangible, right.
3 months later, the timing's all very, very interesting.
Right, yeah.
And
because the Epstein files are coming out.
There's a lot we got to talk about because it just...
So we need a distraction.
Very, very suspicious to me right now. And we're going to talk about, if you didn't see, the surgeon who said Andrew Colvett's a liar and that he never said any of that about Charlie Kirk's neck, because why would a surgeon say something that fucking dumb, was also a hunter. And he said, yeah, it was a frangible round. Oh. Yeah, I mean, that's sort of what I said 2 months ago. Made sense. However, and we'll get into deep detail with what a frangible round is and what it does. The frangible round was impossible based off of what TPUSA was telling us. You guys remember the medical examiner's report? We've been told 500 fucking times from TPUSA and Stephen Gardner and Officer Tatum and Andrew Colvett.
Ah, yeah, that's right. Brandon Tantrum. That's right. Brandon Tel Aviv Tantrum. That's what his name should be. That's what I'm going to start calling him from now on. Brandon Tel Aviv Tantrum. Yeah, so that somehow, some way, the round hit his C2, crashed into his C7, and lodged in his neck without hitting his face. Right.
And Erica Kirk, everybody has told us, what's the story? We all know it, right? The 30-06 round came in, hit Charlie Kirk in the C2, it then crashed through all 6 vertebrae, and the bullet lodged just above the T1.
Yep.
Right? We all know that story. Well, the problem with that story is if a frangible round was used, that's impossible.
Right.
So who's telling the truth and who's lying now? I don't know at this point. Because all of a sudden, let's look at timelines, right? Timelines. All of a sudden, after 3 months, no new information, Tyler Robinson appears in court. Candace Owens and Erica Kirk meet for a meeting.
Timelines matter, guys. Timelines absolutely matter. Like how there was a very suspicious trend in Google searches right after, I believe, Tucker Carlson's debate with what's the other, pro Israel guy. Um, um, I have no idea, bro. I don't know what you mean with these emojis, man. I have no idea what these emojis even are. Um, but it like right after that debate, um, there was a very suspicious trend in Google searches, um, with um the drop off location of the rifle, and Tyler Robinson's lawyer and stuff that was all coming from Israel. So there's a lot of things that are going on timeline wise. And then also, a few days right before Charlie was shot. So all kinds of really suspicious things. That's why timelines matter. And literally a day before, Charlie was expressing that he was fearful that they were going to kill him. And they, well, the usual suspects.
And the very next day, the surgeon comes out and says, Andrew Colvette's a liar. I never said that. And actually, it's a frangible round, which explains the entire official FBI narrative out of fucking nowhere. And it's almost like we gave away the answers to the test a couple months ago. I literally gave the answers to the test away.
And now they're using it.
When I said exactly the type of round that we would need to see to create the damage that did to Charlie, but it doesn't work because of what TPUSA has told us. So it's almost like TPUSA or whoever
they're walking
decided,
back.
Okay, we know this 30-06 story doesn't work, but there is one way to make it work. It's
right.
A frangible round.
Mm-hmm.
However, the people that are going to tell you, oh yeah, duh, it's a frangible round. You don't know how rare a fucking 30-06 frangible round is. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, Nate was saying that it's pretty.
Big Nate Dogg was the first one that did content on that, talking about how it
pretty
would
hard
make
to
100%
find
sense for it to be a
frangible
frangible round,
rounds.
but TPUSA told us that's not possible. So it was well ahead of the game on that one. Shouldn't have even that. And here, maybe this is where I fucked up, guys. Maybe where I fucked up was giving TPUSA any credibility to begin with. But 2 months ago, I hadn't realized what a bunch of fucking liars they were. So I just assumed these are Charlie Kirk's best friends. They wouldn't be lying to us. And that was fucking naive of me.
Question everything.
That was a huge whoopsie.
Question.
So my bad on
everything.
that one. Because had I just not listened to Andrew Colvette's stupid bullshit, we would have already had probably the entire thing figured out. But we did. And so that's our bad. We got lied to and we got hoodwinked, and it happens. But you don't expect evangelical companies like TPUSA to be putting out blatant fucking lies for no reason. Actually, is that maybe something we should expect?
The churches all serve
Is that
one
maybe
master.
something we should have expected from an evangelical organization like that?
Yes.
It's like maybe that's the one thing we should have 100% all have assumed. It's like these people are probably fucking lying. Now that I think about it. And I look at the track record of sort of evangelical companies and mega pastors, that was probably a big fucking whoopsie. But they use Jesus to emotionally manipulate you, and they did it to all of us. But
they always
no
do.
more. Truth has supposedly come out now. But
it's exactly why
yes, they say.
It's exactly why I don't believe in religion. Oh, well, I mean, obviously not the only reason. There are many reasons, but this is one big one, is because it doesn't matter what society, is at the time. There's always a reason for the state to use religion, and people always fall for it because people always fall for religion, right? Something that makes you feel good, religion. Something that makes you feel safe and secure after your time here on this earth, and right. people don't like to fear, right? And so making people believe in an afterlife that is beautiful and no pain, people were going to fall for that, absolutely. And if that was true, then I would have no problem believing in it myself. But, you know, when you question everything, you begin to find very, very, very quickly. Okay, well, let's go down this rabbit hole here. Let's go down this rabbit hole, because I don't want it just to be about, watching Valhalla the entire time, because I have a lot of value to give to you guys as it pertains to religion. I have done extensive, very extensive research on religion. Okay. Did a live stream about this quite some time ago with Mike. Didn't exactly talk about what I would have liked to talk about, but since we're here, let's go ahead and talk about it. So I was Christian, right? And then kind of blanket everything before we get any deeper into things. I was Christian, and then I started to convert to Judaism, and then I walked away from it all. Okay. And here's the reason. As a Christian, you are told quite often that there's only one name that saves you, and that's the name of Jesus, right? Well, when you begin to find out that that name only existed in the 1600s, right? Because the implementation with the English language, right, from Scripture started with King James. That's why it's called the King James version. That name still wasn't in there, right? Because there were versions of the King James Bible before the name Jesus appears in the Bible, right? Before the King James version of 1638, which is the first implementation of the name Jesus in the Bible, it was known that name was known as Jesus, right? Which is the Latin name for the Greek name, right? Because there were two names essentially. There was Jesus and Jesus, right? Jesus being Greek, but they all mean the same thing. Both of them mean the same thing, meaning the anointed one, right? So then you find that out and you're like, oh, okay, well that's really weird. That's not the name that existed in the first century. So then you find out, okay, well, Yeshua or Yehoshua, which is the Hebrew name, and the name that the 12 apostles would have called him by, either that or Adonai, right? Then you begin to realize, okay, well, there's something to look deeper into things, and so you look deeper into it, and you begin to find out very quickly that these people were Jewish, right? So, and the whole and that's what the whole Gospels really teach, is that everyone is coming to Mount Zion. Everyone is coming into the covenant, right? To become Jewish, right? And this is where so many rabbis get things wrong. So many pastors get things wrong, and it's all by design, of course, to keep people away from asking questions and finding the truth. And so, what you begin to find is that you can absolutely convert to Judaism. If that wasn't the case, then Abraham wouldn't have been a Jew. Then Moses wouldn't have been a Jew, right? Because it's not the blood that converts you. It's not the blood that converts you. No, it's you entering into the covenant, right, through your mind, body, and soul, right? So, by you following the laws of Moses, right? The law that, God, Adonai, had, charged all of his people, his chosen people, then only then are you Jewish. Only then are you, God's chosen one, God's chosen people. So when you begin to find that out, and then you read Paul's letters saying that you can absolutely, eat food sacrificed to idols, you can absolutely, eat pork and all of these things. You don't have to go to the feasts. Then that directly contradicts the Gospels as well, because Yeshua or Yehoshua, which actually I should have touched on this a little bit more. And there's a lot of information I know I'm throwing at you here, but the name Yehoshua or Yeshua literally literally means God is salvation, right? God, God with us. Well, I mean that's Emmanuel, but God is salvation. That is Yehoshua or Yeshua for short, which translates to English as Joshua. Okay, it's just like my name, Jonah. Translates means, or not translates, but means dove, right? These are Hebrew names. A lot of people say they're Christian names, but they're Hebrew names, right? They're Jewish names. And so you find this stuff out, right? So you begin to research the early church, and the early church absolutely were not Jewish at all, because there was a period from the first century to the third century, right? Where, or I'm sorry, the first century to the fourth century, right? The 300s, where the Council of Nicaea happened, and they collected together and they, decided which books, right, which scrolls were put together and collected into the Bible. And so then you begin to understand, okay, these things were chosen, and there was a very, very heavy anti-Semitic, I guess, view, right, on everything, regardless of who they were. So much so that they were absolutely mocked and ridiculed, and even sometime after that, because it wasn't until the unification of Rome that Christianity, because that's how Christianity actually started, was through that war, right? Emperor Constantine, after unifying Rome, started Christianity, right? That's how Christianity actually started. And so, again, sometime after that, these Christians who were actually pagan beforehand and still implemented a bunch of paganism into the religion itself, because otherwise, Christians wouldn't call themselves Christians, and they wouldn't celebrate Easter, which is a descendant of Oyster, where pagans worship the goddess Ishtar. And then there also wouldn't be a celebration of Christmas, which is originally a pagan holiday where they celebrate the ancestors, right? So, you look at all of these things, you're like, oh, okay, well, these people have no idea what's going on. And then you go to your pastor, right, and you start asking a bunch of questions, and then they start gaslighting you. Then you tell them, okay, well, what Paul says contradicts what even the Messiah says in the first century, right? Because everything is about the laws of Moses in the first, even in the Gospels, everything's about the laws of Moses, right? So what's interesting to note is that the Messiah himself in the first century, he says that he is the way, the truth, and the life, right? And John 1:1 says that the Word was with God. The Word was God, right? So by him always pointing to the laws of Moses, and by him saying that he's the Word of God, right? That also means he's the laws of Moses, which is the Word of God. So then when he says, be like me, right? Walk as I do. That also means that you keep the feasts, right? The feast of unleavened bread, the feast of first fruits, the feast of tabernacles, right? But Paul says something else, right? And so you start to question that, and then the gaslighting starts. I was one of those people that was asking questions. And so I know a little bit more. I know quite a bit more now, actually, than what I did back then when I was having that discussion with him. But essentially, I was pressing him, pretty hard on the matter, pretty hard on the matter, actually. And so what I had saw, I think this was a little bit later on, that what the Messiah says in Matthew 5:17 through 18, that nothing from the law will pass until old heaven and earth passes. Okay, and so what that means is that the laws of Moses still apply. They still apply. But Paul says that there's a new law because of the death of Christ. Well, that doesn't make any sense because the Messiah says something different, right? So it's either the Messiah is lying or Paul is lying. And so you have this conflict within yourself. Okay, well, the apostles were Jewish. The Messiah himself was Jewish. And he says, be like me, so I must be Jewish, right? Okay, so then you start reading a lot more into the Old Testament, right? First of all, you should really read the Bible to understand the Bible, not to read it because it makes you feel good, right? So read the Bible to understand the Bible, and you start to get a lot more into the Old Testament, which is pretty pretty awkward and pretty weird how pastors today hardly touch the Old Testament, right? They always talk about the New Testament, especially Paul's letters. They love Paul's letters. Really weird, right? Ask yourself that question. Why is it they hardly touch the Old Testament? Well, because they know that if they teach too much about the Old Testament, people are going to start having really, really good questions that they can't answer. Because just like I was having that talk with the pastor, I never heard anything from him ever again. Weird. So then you begin to research the Old Testament quite a bit. Well, what you begin to find out is that from the beginning, right? In the beginning, there was the Word. The Word was with God. The Word was God, right? In John 1:1. So from the beginning, the Word had existed. And so by that, the Word being the laws of Moses had existed from the beginning of time, because you look in Genesis, right? God also teaches Noah the clean and unclean animals. So how did he know how to separate the animals if God didn't teach him that? But he was declared righteous, right? And then later, Abraham was declared righteous. But Abraham was married to his half-sister. So there was an incestuous marriage. There's an incestuous marriage there. Why is it that he was declared right even after Sarah had passed away? He was married to her until she passed away. By the laws of Moses, he was to be taken outside the camp and stoned, because incestuous relationships is strictly prohibited. And per the laws of Moses, you were to be stoned outside the camp. Okay. So, the fact that he was declared righteous, the fact that adultery is also expressly forbidden, right, doesn't excuse the, or I should say adultery, right? Does it excuse the adultery from um, the the children of Israel, children of Jacob, right, who was later renamed Israel, by having 12 children, right? That's where the 12 tribes comes from. 12 children with 3 different baby mamas, right? So, but he's declared righteous. Abraham is declared righteous. But here's the one really, really good question. How is it that all of this started with Abraham? Because it was supposed to have been started with Adam, right? Or Adam? Adam and Eve? Why is it we hardly know of anything in between Abraham and Adam? The only one that's in between those two is Noah. And you can say, well, the flood, the flood myth. But then you can also say that other cultures, which we'll get into that here in a second, other cultures also have a flood myth as well, right? The Norse has a flood myth. The Sumerians have a flood myth. And funny enough, we're actually about to get into Sumerian culture. Okay? I know this is pretty long-winded, but I'm about to wrap it up, I promise. Abraham, where did Abraham come from? And it says right there in Genesis. He's from the city of Ur, right? So the city of Ur is one of the capitals of Sumer. So, by that extension, there is no Jewishness, there is no Christianity, there is only Sumerian culture. So, the children of Israel, the idea of Judaism is a product of Sumerian culture. So therefore, Christianity is a Sumerian culture. Islam is a Sumerian culture. And Sumerians are very, very alive. Well, perhaps not alive, right? But the culture is. It's just it's just taken different forms. So then you begin to find that out, and then you also begin to find other things out, right? You discover artifacts such as the Moabite stone, the Code of Hammurabi, right? Which was a Sumerian king, right? Who wrote, a gigantic code of law. Very barbaric, mind you, but it was a code of law that predated the Sinai Code, right? Predated the laws of Moses. And the two are very mirroring each other. So, there you go. Right. As a breakdown, pretty quick breakdown actually of religion in itself. Obviously you have other religions, Taoism, Buddhism, genes and all those guys. But what I will say is that every religion has its blunders. Every religion does, right? And because they have their blunders, they're not perfect, right? They're gonna have their contradictions. It is what it is. Okay. But you cannot really look to people and say, oh, okay, well, it's not true because what people are doing. You have to look at what the doctrine says, right? Because the doctrine is going to reflect what the society is, right? It's not necessarily the individuals, it's the society as a whole that you really got to look at, because society will always determine what is needed, unless because of the individuals, right? Because of status. But whatever society needs at a specific point in time, typically you'll see religion follows suit of that, right? That's why there was supposed to be a separation of church and state, right, with the First Amendment, and that was actually supposed to stop that. But the thing is, you cannot separate, and I don't think this is exactly what the founding fathers had, or perhaps they did understand this, because Benjamin Franklin was a very, very, very intelligent man who was also an atheist, and he probably understood this as well. I'm not going to say one way or the other, but I don't think they exactly really understood that you cannot separate church and state, because the very laws that a government writes is based on religion usually, because then it comes into subject of morality, right? So there's that argument too, but that's exactly why I always question everything, especially when it comes to religion, because as soon as religion comes into the conversation, well, it's pretty rare that people really ask questions, and I think that's a really sad thing. But even when people ask questions, there are quite a few people out there that don't really care to know the truth of things, and they just believe whatever. It's really sad, but it is what it is. But yeah, so question everything. All of that long-windedness to say question everything, because they will absolutely use religion to manipulate you to do what they want you to do. Right? This is exactly why I don't subscribe to any religion. Because it is, as I understand it, man-made.
Okay. His ears, I'm not sure the ears match. Let's see. They're rounded. Right? Rounded ears. Pretty sure Tyler has ears that connect to his neck, right? Yeah, Tyler's ears connect to his fucking neck. You can see this. See that? How they come down and connect? That's like not mine. I have rounded ears. He's got ears that come down and connect to the neck. This person has rounded ears.
His ears are attached.
I don't know, guys. But to my point, whoever that kid going to the roof is has black fucking hair, doesn't really look like Tyler Robinson. He obviously doesn't have a 30-06 with him.
Right.
And I'm not being conspiratorial. I'm just looking at the pictures. It doesn't even fucking look like Tyler Robinson at all. Just objectively. And is this the best evidence they have? Again, I don't know. I don't know. Right? But I know that he doesn't have a 30-06 with him. Let's see here. Yeah, look at how round these ears are. Round these ears are. I don't see it, guys. It doesn't. When I look at that, it don't. And that's not even the AI images. That's just the pure images.
Oh, there are AI images.
Went from black to light brown, which typically hair doesn't go from black to light brown. But maybe in 3 months it's changed. I don't know. It's just that.
Well, I've seen hair turn from brunette to blonde.
Here's another one.
In that time span.
I think Barron was talking about this tonight.
But for that to happen just like that is pretty unusual.
So, you guys remember this picture? Whoops, where the fuck that?
Oh, I don't think I saw that one.
No, we don't want that. Hold on. Let's come back here.
I remember seeing other ones, like on the rooftop of the white building. I remember seeing that.
All right, so you guys remember this guy who got caught? Oh, it's going to keep fucking doing that to me. Shit. Let's see. And it's not going to play either. Anyway, You guys remember the guy on the roof? Oh, here we go. Let's do this. So I don't have to deal with that. This guy up on the roof, right? Remember him? Laying down here. The witness who saw this, actually filming this and saw this, said he saw him take the shot. It looked like he was in black tactical gear. He saw no recoil from the gun. None of that matches this guy. This guy doesn't have fucking a bunch of black tactical gear on.
You
There's
know,
no kit, there's no nothing.
we all know that it wasn't a 30-06. The thing is, I think that this was a 5.56. And I say that because obviously a 5.56 isn't going to do the kind of damage that a 30-06 would, right? Obviously. So obviously because it's a quite a bit smaller of a round. But the way that it sounded, right, is very suggestive of a suppressor. Very suggestive of a suppressor. So, and when you use a 5.56 with a suppressor, it makes a very distinctive sound, right? There's usually a what's the word I'm looking for? I forget. There's a specific word for how suppressors sound. But there's this weird crackle. There we go. There's this very distinctive crackle for 5.56 with a suppressor. So that's why I say it was a 5.56. And if it was a 30-06 round, he would have been nearly decapitated. Now, how he was hit was very, very brutal, very gruesome. But that's only why I say that this was a 5.56, because it wasn't nearly as damaging as a 30-06 round would have been. And because of that crackle.
Oh, no. His right hand, left hand. Watch his hand. Watch his left hand. Whoops. Hold on. Went back a little bit. Let's get here. Why does it keep doing this? Is this going to reset on me? Oh, here we go. Right there. See that? See the left hand? See what he has in his hand? That's his hat. He's carrying a little backpack in the right hand, which we would assume is that little backpack because he didn't want to jump off the fucking roof with it on his back. And then that's his black hat that he was wearing, that you watch him put it right back on his head. Boop. Hat goes back on the head, and off he goes. It's not a fucking 44-inch long gun. At least as far as I can see. I don't see it. Do you guys see it? Do you guys see the giant 30-06? And imagine it's a giant gun. Now it's wrapped in a black towel, so it's twice as big.
What makes me more sus, or what makes this whole thing more sus, I should say, what makes me suspect things, I should say, is that this. I'm sure people saw this guy, right? If it's not AI, some people saw this guy jump off of the fucking roof, and he's just running, around traffic, and people were just walking around like nothing happened. That's what I find weird about it.
Right, it's this big leaving the roof, unless he pre-staged the gun, which is possible. But what's the FBI say? Oh, he put the gun back together when he was on the roof. That's why he left the screwdriver up there. It's got his DNA on it, of course. Because again, that makes sense. He pulled his elaborate assassination off. Great infill, great shot. Not great shot, but good enough shot. Great exfil, but he just accidentally leaves the screwdriver behind. Accidentally throws the guns in the woods. Maybe, sure, okay. Yeah. It could be. It could be. Okay. Now, I don't want to get too deep into this because Friday's episode is kind of, I got to rethink Friday's episode because the first part of Friday's episode, we were going to have Chuck on, and Chuck was going to explain to us how he got shot in the fucking spine and had no exit wound, which would have been a great thing to talk about to sort of compare and try to figure out the realistic probability of this. But now with the new information that it's a frangible round, well, it's irrelevant because we know a frangible round's not going to create an exit wound most likely. So I gotta figure out what we're gonna do with the first half of that. Obviously, we're still gonna cover Barron's electrocution theory because that's super cool. Maybe I'm sure we'll still have Chuck on and he can talk about it just from a no exit wound type of thing. But again, now that we're being told it's a frangible round, okay, it's still interesting, yeah. So yeah, and Chuck's also shot a lot of people, and he has a lot of experience on that side of things too. So
I really want him to acknowledge this fucking comment.
But anyway, it's kind of very weird. Okay, so anyway, I don't want to get too deep tonight. We're already at 2.5 hours. I just wanted to cover this because I don't want to infringe on Friday's episode. Okay, so that's just where we're going to stop there. Now we're going to hit the super chats, because again. Yeah, no. We've solved the 30-06 story. I know. $9 around. We're aware. Okay. We did it. Now we got to do super chats. Thank you all for sticking with us for the main part of the show. Okay, that's going to do it until Friday, where we come back and discuss more of this. But again, I don't want to infringe on Friday's episode. So. If you want to stick with us for the super chats, I'll refill my drink here.
I want you to read my chat.
To do that.
Damn it.
And we'll have a good time while we do that.
Read my chat.
But if not,
notice me,
thanks for
senpai.
showing up. We love you guys. Let's do it. Let's jump into it. See what you guys have to think here.
Notice me, senpai.
Did that one. Here we go. All right. We're back where we need to be here. Why can't I get this bigger? No. I'm trying to blow this up on my screen so I can see it better.
Yeah, we already know that, though.
Okay, there we go. All right, Cousin Fat says, Candace confirmed that Charlie Kirk texted 3 people they're going to kill me one day before he was murdered. Add to the scenario of Zio attacks on CK in the summer. Does anyone think he was referring to Tyler Robinson? I doubt it specifically. I do think the fact that we know now, and this was proved because Erica Kirk admitted Candace was right. Candace has actually been, she hasn't been right about everything, but Candace has been right about a lot. Did Charlie know it was going to be Tyler? No, I doubt it. But I think it's very compelling that Charlie told 3 people the day before he was assassinated that he thought they were going to kill him. They typically means there's one entity that they usually means when we're talking about this. If I had to guess based off of what Charlie was dealing with and the text we saw
usual suspects
prior, I think it's not that outside of the realm of realistic probabilities to know who they is.
Right.
Especially when we start to look at this with Tyler, how I am 100% convinced that there was foreign actors involved in this, whether it be foreign, whether it be our own government, whether it be the FBI, I don't know. But I am at this point now with the change in story and the new story. Now I am on board with, I was always on board with Tyler didn't act alone. Now I'm 100% on board that I believe he had professional help. And by professional, I mean like foreign actor, foreign country, foreign influence, something like that. I don't see how it's possible that he didn't. And especially when I know that the FBI has tried to shut down, again, the CIA, the counterintelligence agencies, the counterterrorism agencies. Now that I know that the FBI has done that, it makes me even more suspicious. And we know they've done that.
Right.
That's not even tinfoil. Like, we objectively know they did that. Yeah, it's not great.
Bro, why are you guys
Crash
dropping
Patel.
like $50 on a comment, bro?
Oops, what happened here? Oh, we got
People
Uh,
people are struggling enough as it is to pay for food. Why are you dropping $50? I mean, you guys do what you want with your money, but I mean, and good for you guys if you guys want to spend that kind of money on that, for sure. But $50, man, that's crazy.
Sorry, guys. Here we go. Here we go. There it is. Okay. Colonel Mustard Wrench Library. Yeah, this is about where we're at with this. Tyler Robinson with the 30-06 from the roof. Maybe. Who knows? The angle from which the bullet was shot still doesn't add up. Am I correct? Let me show you what I mean by this. Due to TPUSA's initial story, no, it was impossible. Okay. And I'll show you what I mean on this. Okay. Whoops. Let's pull this back up. Okay. So this was TPUSA's. Let me pull that down. This was TPUSA's initial story. Okay. Which was this right here. This is the official narrative, the Andrew Colvett Fed slop narrative that they put out. Okay. Was this, that Charlie Kirk was initially shot. It hit his C2 here. Okay. And then again, this is a 9-degree slope. You can see it right here. Okay. Well, 10-degree, whatever, same thing. You can see there, 10-degree slope. And then you got hit in the C2. That's not possible. It's just literally physically not possible. There's no discussion to be had. And then that crashed through here, destroyed everything, and then the round lodged down here. That's the official narrative. That never worked. Now, keep in mind, TPUSA has come out and said, this is made up. This is a lie. So we have to retract this now and go, okay, well, if this isn't true, that opens up the realm of possibilities of the shot being taken from the roof, it hitting him actually, and we know it hit him right about here because we can watch with our own eyes. That hits the C5, fragmentation round. You have that cavitation damage here to all this shit. So this is more likely. If we're going by, this is actually the realistic scenario that happened. But again, that's because TPUSA lied to us about the initial story. So anyway, all right. The feds will now manufacture his internet search history where he was searching for researching frangible ammo. You're giving them pointers. At this point, you might not be wrong. Just,
I want him to acknowledge his fucking comment.
Yeah, and a lot of people said that. They're like, don't give him the answers to the test, and it kind of feels like that's what happened. I hate to ask you, but do you trust Candace as a person? Yeah, I would assume so. I don't think Candace is nefarious. I know people that know Candace and say she's super kind and super nice. So I don't see why she would be untrustworthy. That doesn't mean she gets everything right, but I mean, nobody gets everything right, but I don't think Candace is acting in bad faith. I don't. A lot of people are calling her evil. A lot of people are saying she's doing this for money. Candace is already rich. If you didn't know, Candace doesn't fucking need to do content on Charlie Kirk to make money. She's already rich. So no, I don't believe that Candace is acting in bad faith or she's being nefarious at all.
Or wanting attention,
me personally,
because she
some
gets.
People do, but I don't think that
she gets thousands. I want to say like 100,000 or so concurrent viewers in her live streams. So,
Nate, please talk. Forget to look him up, but you guys keep saying that, and I've heard he said some nice things about me, which I always appreciate. So we'll get to it. I'm going to be done earlier tonight, so I actually can. We're not going to be done at fucking 11 at night. A 6-hour stream tonight because we're doing a shorter one, so I'll be able to catch up on some of this stuff tonight. Small town happened with JFK. Fed agents removed the evidence. Correct. Photos, audio recordings, embodied against the medical director's order and threatened him. Yes, they did. That's why this is always sketchy to me of what's true, what's not true, because we've seen our government do this. over and over and over and over again in the past.
Yep.
Tyler was training with regular ammo on steel, which ricocheted and fast-tracked his boyfriend's transition surgery at Camp Williams Armor, got them training rounds because they were in a love triangle. That's out there. Nick says the sad reality is that the implications of all this, if true, which I believe it is, means we no longer live in America. And how long has this been the case? Probably a long time, as we just talked about with JFK. That
A long time, dude.
I believe after, and it's earlier than this, but I believe after about 1947, we no longer had control of our own country. I think it does go far, at least that far back, to be honest, as far as I see it. Christopher says, Christopher Walken's voice, big $50 dono. Thank you very much. Fed slop at an all-time high, and Trump keeps asking for second helpings, and BB's wean. This is happening. 2026 is going to be great. Merry Christmas, brother. Love the channel. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas to you as well. And it is, guys, is this not all of this just like, to his point, the timing of all of this? This is also coming out 24 hours before the Epstein files release. This massive breakthrough in the Charlie Kirk case that everyone's talking about. Candace just did content on it. Barron just got done with content on it. I'm doing content on it. This is going to be the big story now, right? Everything's changed. Everything changed, right? You guys know that headline. It is bizarre to me that it is right after Erica meets with Candace and right before the Epstein files are supposed to release.
We actually lost control of this country as soon as the Federal Reserve was created. Because then the Federal Reserve could control what happens. Because they have control over the government. Right?
Maybe I do think all of this is a big distraction.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be very interesting, isn't it? Again, also, Dan Bongino announces that he's leaving the FBI 24 hours prior to the Epstein files, and all of this is also happening at the same time. I don't believe in this big of coincidences. I don't. Like, this is just way too much, like flooding the zone right before the Epstein files come out. It's too much. It's too much. Venezuela, like everything is just being shoved down our throats from everything to just not pay attention to other things.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's too much.
That's why I always tell you guys.
What's up, back man?
That's why I always tell you guys, look, so whenever something happens, always question what might be going on in the background, right? What do I really need to pay attention to in order to not get distracted by what they're wanting you to get distracted by?
Man, WD, you don't want the ricochet to hit your buddy next to the target. It's not about ricochets. Keep in mind, man, we do CQB in the house. Like,
yeah, see, look, right here.
Next to each other.
Right here. Comment right here. Exactly. He gets it.
Barrel to barrel.
Or she.
With Full Metal Jacket rounds. Not really worried too much about that. But
talking about football, so I imagine it's
I don't know.
Dude.
Bina, excuse me, got the hiccups. Bina Baby says, new here and loving it. Thank you, Jesse on fire. Yeah, Jesse's our boy. I think guys, I'm pretty sure Jesse and Dan from Heavy Duty Country, maybe Ian, are going out to their range tomorrow, Dan's range, to do some ballistics testing. I think it's going to be some 30-06 ballistics testing, and I think it's going to be pretty funny. They got some funny stuff planned, so be on the lookout for that. I said, Bina Baby says, I think the switch of the narrative is because TPUSA's lie was so fucking obvious. Frangible round was their only option to quiet the conspiracy theorists, not because it's actually true. I mean, again, this shifts the narrative. Now the narrative is everybody out there can say, nope, it's a frangible round. Told you, 30-06 makes sense. I don't know if it's true or not, but it is, again, to our point. And you're going to see it. I'm telling you guys, when I let you know the stuff you're going to see it all over the internet in the next couple days. Keep in mind, none of those people put forward that theory first. I did. None of those people did. but they're still going to grift and make it seem like they were ahead of it the whole time because that's what people
Of course.
do. So watch for it. I feel like Trump is winking at us. Sorry, it's too much information. Biden 2.0 kind of feels that way. How many boomers are watching this and foaming at the mouths to send young men and women to war? Oh, in Venezuela? Yeah, they love that shit, don't they? Let's just not do that, please. We just like leave sovereign countries alone. That'd be nice. Dude, 3,000 years. Amazing. Yep. It's crazy. As crazy as it is, at least you have actual freedom of speech in the United States. Don't let them take your guns. And this is from Jellybean, an Australian viewer. And that's right. And that's why it doesn't matter how many goddamn false flags they shove down our throat.
Yep.
You ain't taking them. You're not taking them.
I would rather die.
Lord says it's getting to the point where
I'd rather die than give up my
serf than
guns.
under Lord and his family. They live under this clown show. Did I show you guys the statistic that back in ancient Egypt, slaves paid 20% taxes and kept all the rest? You literally pay more taxes in America in 2025 than Egyptian slaves did. So that's just something to think about.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's
I didn't know that. What the fuck?
Trump clearly read the book, The Secret. Maybe. AJ says our commander-in-chief needs to get an Article 15. Bump him down a few ranks. I don't think he'd be worried about the pay doc, though, unfortunately. Skull says, greatest ever. Huge. Whatever happened to getting to see the inside of Fort Knox? Oh, yeah. All that gold in there that we were supposed to audit that we just, aren't going to talk about anymore. I'm calling JG Wentworth. Yeah. Thank you, brother. Liz says, gag me with a spoon and fuck your eggs, sir. 100. Well, I'd say don't tempt me with a good time, but I'm married, Liz. But thank you very much. That was aggressive. That was aggressive. Holy shit. But thank you. Claude generates some flare words around non-existent stat changes to try and regain support of my failing presidency. I need the support badly. That is actually what his slop. I cannot believe that's what he announced. He announced that as a big announcement that he had to put out, and it was just a bunch of fucking bullshit slop of accomplishments that he hasn't accomplished and then announced nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. He talked so much about ending wars while literally trying to start one with Venezuela, and then also funding the genocide with Gaza, and then also not ending the Russia-Ukraine war as he said he was going to do in 24 hours. So, and then there's so much more with him talking about jobs being brought back. All of the reasons why people can't buy homes now is because all of these illegals, which there's some truth to that, but that's not the actual reason. The actual reason is because all of these private equity firms are buying 86,000 single family homes. That's why you can't buy a home, because of those fucking parasites buying those homes. That essentially has brought the pricing up in the market. So
loved it. Absolutely. He's trying to get out ahead of the Epstein files. Yeah, 100%. Mm-hmm. Although they're going to be so goddamn redacted that it's
going to be useless at this point, dude.
Maybe find out tomorrow. We'll see what we get.
They're not going to be anything.
Guys, I didn't think about this. Maybe that's what the episode tomorrow will be on. If there's a bunch of breaking stuff, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look too.
By 30% in Trump's administration. Okay. That's good. I mean, shit, I'd vote for the guy if I had that type of return on my investment, which I haven't, unfortunately. Am I retarded or is Trump retarded? I don't know why that comment is so funny to me. But I think listening to him, you have to ask yourself that, right? You have to ask yourself, like, this is so obnoxious. Am I the dumb one? Because I don't understand anything this fucking idiot is saying, or is he? Well, it's probably him, but it's a funny comment.
God damn it.
Okay. A rubbernecker and a steel neck walk. Oh,
well, sometimes you really have to ask yourself, did he really just say that?
I already know this one's going to be good. Oh, rubber band neck and steel neck. Here we go. A rubbernecker and a steel neck walk into the bar. There sits Tim Kennedy with a bag full of grenades. He gives Cash a MAGA hat with valor. We did it all by ourselves. Tariffs and Venezuelan trugs, no more. Make 2025 make sense. Yep. Where's Tim Kennedy when you need him? You know what I mean? Where's Tim? Where's Tim at when you need Tim? Maybe Tim would have the answers to all this. I believe he's being sued right now, by the way. No, I'm not. I don't believe that he is actually being sued. But,
Right. Yeah.
you know, anyway.
Yeah.
Is this an SNL skit? It's going to be. It's 100% going to be an SNL skit, probably by Friday, probably by tomorrow. Can't afford the super chat. Well, Lucky Stars, if you can't afford a $2 super chat, please don't super chat me. Okay. Take care of you. All of you, take care of yourselves before you donate any
Exactly.
money to me. Okay?
See, bro,
This should just be because it's fun.
stop doing this, guys. Stop doing this, okay? Stop doing this, right? And when the channel becomes monetized and you start giving me super chats, don't. Please don't. Please don't. If you look, exactly what Nate's saying here. If you can't if you can't afford $2, bro, don't do it. Take care of yourselves. I've been in that situation. Okay? I'm still in that situation. Hopefully I can get out of that situation soon, but we'll see. Anyways, I know how that situation is. Don't do it. Okay? Take care of yourselves first.
Fun and you want to support the channel. I do for Christmas. I think that's really cool. But at the same time, to your point, I'm pretty concerned that that we're trying to buy votes and we're trying to buy people off with support before we do something really bad for the military. But we'll see.
Yeah.
He won't openly declare war. He'll need congressional approval, and he won't ask for that. He'll just do it. Well, to your point, did you guys know? Yeah, we don't ever declare war. You guys know that, right? You'll see Democrats, and I'm not trying to beat up on the Democrats, but Democrats all the time will be like, Congress has to declare war. Congress has to declare war. Do you guys know the last time America declared war? We got any history buffs in the chat? When's the last time we declared war, guys? Somebody's going to get this one immediately.
World War II.
Who's going to get it first? Yep, Barry got it first. The last time we declared war was World War II.
Yep.
So
Told you.
Vietnam, Panama, Desert Storm, Global War on Terror.
Yeah.
None of those were wars.
There were conflicts.
Just so you know, we just invade people.
Because to be considered a war, you would have to fight another superpower, right? You would have to declare war on another nation.
Just do whatever we want. Counterinsurgency. We don't declare war. we just go invade people.